Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. My name's Chris and this is my Lord of the Rings hobby. And in today's video we're going to be painting Angbor the Fearless. He's from the Fiefdoms army in southern Gondor. He's in the book, sadly not in the film, which is a shame. But yeah, let's get onto it. So this is a miniature again. So all I've done is coated the model in Chaos Black, I think it is, or a black, just a matte black primer. And the first colour what we'll be doing now is putting on lead belcher, which is all for all the metal bits. Now I did make a mistake. I should have checked the box, model box and so forth to see where the silver is. I thought he was wearing silver chainmail like all his people does, all his other characters are clansmen. But sadly he isn't. He's wearing what looks like to be black leather or brown leather, any leather. But for this video what I ended up doing is just painting it all silver, because I thought he'd look better like with a silver breastplate. I'm not too sure why they gave him leather and the other guys silver. I don't know if that's in the books. I can't remember reading much about him except for that he was just a fearless lad. When the army of the dead, he's the only one who didn't run away from him. That's why Aragorn gave him the fearless title, so I believe. I'm sure that's right. I haven't read the books for a while, so I'll have to get back onto that. Yeah, so all we're going to do first is just get all the silver done. So we're looking at his sword, his chainmail, which I thought was his front bit, and of course his shin guards. So the next colour we're going to look at is Nargoth Purple, I believe it's called. I might pronounce that wrong. So we're going to use this on all these cloths. Now I did change it from Games Workshop's way, mainly because they'd put a lot of blue on a lot of the models, even though it does kind of tie in the armies, especially like all the fiefdoms and even Gondor. I wanted something a bit different, so I looked online for some clansmen colours. I looked for Scottish patterns, tartan patterns and so forth, and I found a purple one, and I kind of just made it my own. So this one I do as a base colour all the way around. I don't highlight the skirt bit, the kilt. I just only do his main cloth later on, but I'll show that as we go on. So the next colour I used here was grey cyan, and I did this over his beard and also his hair. I really want this guy to look old, as daft as that seems, because he is meant to be quite an old man, a veteran. I'm not too sure how old he is during the War of the Ring, but I did want him. I just wanted to look a lot, not so much frail, but like he's on his way. Like he is just an old man who just needs now to sit down and let the young lords deal with everything. And this is just a quick update of how everything's looking. Now, Rannoch's hide, again, as usual, is one of my favourite paints, especially for doing leathers. So we're going to be very careful here. So we're going to do the bit on top of his sword. I'm not too sure what you would call that bit, because it's not really his handle, but it's just the way it's done. And then also the back of his legs, where his the straps come over to keep his shin guards on. Now again, Bugsman glow you can use for his skin. I used a slightly different one. I did what I did with a previous model, and I added a bit more grey cere to it, and that was just get that old grey looking skin colour, like he's just pale old. I don't know what it is. I think I just see I've seen some quite old people with greyer skin, just like where the blood seems to not go there as much anymore. So I added that on to the whole model, as you can see here, done his legs and his arms. And after that, what we do, of course, is our lovely highlighting stage. So I did this a couple of times, depending where I wanted it to look and highlight. But this is Cadian flesh tone, and then what we're going to do is look at anything what's high on his body. So anything what I know will hit the light a lot more. So we're looking at like his arms, his hands mainly, nose, cheeks, and also his forehead, because he has quite a big forehead, and because he's balding, that shows a lot. But once I was happy with that, I end up getting Kislar flesh out, and I just do this like the dot highlights a bit more on the arms, just to brighten up that skin tone, just to basically show a bit of a muscle. But I'm literally looking at the height of everything. So like you see there, I did the nose, a bit like a stipple effect along there, just getting that outline of the arm a bit more. And then I'll do his knuckles, and also like the top of his hands bits, wherever that sun or light will actually hit. So the next colour we're going to use is Xerius Purple, and what we do here is we thin this down quite a bit, and we make sure that we edge, highlight, and also any raised bits. But this is only for the top bit of his gown slash cape thing. I don't know what you would class it as. There probably is a more of a technical term for it, but I do this all over. As you can see, it's very thin, diluted. In a minute I should hopefully show a better picture of it, but it blends in so well once it's actually all done. But one thing to remember is I do not do the kilt, I leave that to last. I don't highlight at all because our next stage will go on to the next bit. So here should be a nice little up-to-date bit, and as you can see how it blends in so much. Well, probably not the best light in there, but you can see the lines and so forth and the detail which it brings. So the next colour we're going to bring in now is Genestealer Purple, and what we're going to do with this one, we're not going to highlight anything, but we're going to start adding the details to our tartan kilt. And then what we're going to do, so we're going to take our time, we're going to go horizontal all the way across the bottom, then we're going to move it up for the next line, and then move it up again slightly again a bit more. Now the thing is with this one, because of the way the kilt rides up and so forth, is that you don't have to do too many lines. You can kind of get away with being, I wouldn't say lazy, but just try and think about how the fabric would sit and try and draw not so much a straight line, but just draw the curve and like the shape of the fabric, and it'll make it a lot easier. But again, take your time. Any of the creases what you do, get it in, of course. Let's make sure we're not overlapping it and so forth. So what you want to do is just take your brush, make sure it's got a nice point, and just flick upwards, and you can get quite a nice little finish on that. Now once we're happy with our lines, any tidying up, of course, just make sure you're using, I think it's Angbor Purple, just to touch up any mistakes. But what we're going to do now is a vertical white stripe all the way down, of course, from the top all the way down to the bottom. What we need to make sure, or what I found actually easier, should I say, is that I actually use some of the kilts grooves. So anything on top, I use that as like my first highlight, and then I just gapped it out slowly bit by bit, trying to follow those highlights, as you can see here, going nice and slow, putting a bit of pressure on, and then if you need to, do it light and then go over it again. Just nice steady hands here, slowly going around the model. And then once we're happy with all our white, what I got then was a nice Cantor blue. I possibly could have gone a slightly darker, slightly lighter, maybe a McCrag blue to match up with all the other miniatures we've done. But I don't know. I think I was just trying to be brave and just trying something different. So I added this on again. We're not going to highlight this. This is just going to be a one-off colour all the way down, mainly because I want the kilt, the white and the purple, I want that to stand out more than anything. The blue is just like that, the third or fourth colour they have on a kilt. So we're just going to add that slightly, bit by bit. But with the kilt, I decided then to use our metallic paint, and we're just going to start bringing up the highlights on the sword, any of the chainmail slash forearm shield, forearm protectors and shin pads. I can't remember that they do have proper names. I want to say gleaves, but I think that's completely wrong. So we're going to slowly highlight them, get all those edges, anything a bit flat too where we think the sun might hit, we're just going to give them a slight bigger highlight. And then our next colour after we've done that, of course, we're going to then expand on that and give it a slightly narrower way. So our last highlight of today is Stormhost Silver, and we're going to, again, like I said, we're going to pick out the sharpest bits, some bits on the sword, on the edges, but we're also going to get the tip, and that's the main thing. The tip of the sword needs to be the most silver, and then we'll also add the small little, like I said, highlights along the flat, but not too much, just enough where the sun will graze past it. Again, looking on the forearm protectors, also on top of the vest, the chainmail vest, which wasn't chainmail, which is my mistake, and also the shin pads, make sure they all touch up really nice. The model itself was actually terrible to paint. I don't like painting metals, sadly. That's got nothing to do with the moulds. I think they are really good, but they are outdated, which is good now, because War of the Rohirrim's coming out and they're starting to do a lot more plastic. I'm hoping in the next 2 years we will see an increase in plastic models for everything, doing a full rewrite and keeping these metal ones more of a anniversary, or like, I don't know, like a special moment for people who haven't collected and just going, let's get this done. Anyway, that was a bit of a waffle. So like I said, last bit of the thing is our Stormhost Stormhost Silver, and then what we're going to do is base it however you want, guys, to match your army. I've done mine in water. This was for my armies on parade, which I'll show a clip of in the next few seconds. But if you ever enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now, guys.